Everybody, welcome to What the Flick. We're back to talk about billions because Dollar Bill Stern is in the house. Michelle, Alonso, and Ben. Kelly Aucoin. Kelly, thanks for being here. Kelly also plays currently Pastor Tim on The Americans. He sat in on our Americans review. So I don't know, they're in many ways, they're super similar characters in their relationship to the main characters. Like they both have like an equal import to the show. Like not a what do they call it? You're not a principal or a regular.
Principal, but not
you're not a regular.
And you're talked about a lot when you're not there.
Yeah, you're talking right. There's a lot
of an episode of The Americans that was named after me.
And you're barely in it.
So get a dollar bill episode.
So first of all, of those two,
but you are literally the first person who's ever said those two characters are very similar.
But you get what I'm saying. They're similar in their import to the show.
Right. I like it.
Which one's more fun to play?
Jesus. I will say that after playing the nice guy for 3 seasons, it's so fucking fun to play the asshole.
So
he's such an asshole.
Dollar Bill.
Yeah, Dollar Bill is such. Yes, I should name the character. No, Pastor Tim is such a dick. So they're both fun. They're great characters. The writing is so fantastic. But you love playing a bigamist.
Yeah.
Bigamist douchebag.
You're juggling your little leagues at least. It's very considerate.
Successful.
What was it? Timmy and
Timmy and I don't know. It wouldn't be Tommy.
It was like Timmy and something else. Yeah.
Well,
Jeremy's in the spring. Timmy's in the fall. I try to be fair. And then, so let's talk about that if we could. The fight scene. The fake fights. It's really one of the great scenes of the year, if not sometime on TV.
Right.
Anything significantly changed?
From page to
screen?
No, I mean I lost my voice the day before, the 2 days before. I still was gone the day before, and you can kind of hear it when I walk in and I say hello. The first line, "Hello," you can hear me. It sounds like this malevolent frog kind of, and then but there was something about yelling that I sounded fine.
Well, when you've lost your voice, you can frequently go louder. You can't go normal.
That's exactly what happened, and it never happened to me before. I texted the ADs, and we didn't do anything about it, which was, I guess, sort of a risk, but it worked. It worked fine. They had a doctor come in on the set because when I showed up, they're like, "Oh, you really did lose your voice."
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm here. But and they were expecting. I think we all were like, maybe they'll give me a little cortisone. We'll fix it right up. I've heard about things like this. And he checked me out.
Opera singers love that shit.
And he checked me out and he said, "Yeah, you should really keep don't talk for a couple days." I was like,
"So
are you kidding me?" Yeah. You see where we are? Yeah.
But so the scene didn't really. The main thing that changed for me was how quickly Dollar Bill would catch on to what Axe was doing. Mm-hmm. And originally in the script it was saying he catches on right away, and we shot it that way, and then we just shot it how long it would take. It wouldn't be that long because he's a smart guy and he's attuned to Bobby, but we fiddled with that, and they chose a take that was sort of halfway in between.
That was a nice leading up to him figuring it out too. I really enjoyed that.
Good. Yeah. That's great. That was sort of the crux. The launch into it seemed really important.
If you didn't know that, I feel like you would just be caught off guard as an audience member.
Right.
It was nice to kind of get it with you.
Yeah, that's what the director and Karan Kusama and the writer of the episode Willie both were like. Yeah, that's the way we want to go. Otherwise, he's a crazy man. How does he know?
Speaking of Karan Kusama, go see The Invitation, which we reviewed this week. So good.
I just saw it. We went to a Q&A in New York at the IFC Center. It's great, isn't it?
Holy crap, yeah. And don't read anything about what it's about. Just go see it.
And she also did, I didn't find this out, and I'm glad until after I worked with her, but she made Girl Fight. Which was her first movie. And I
made Michelle Rodriguez a star.
Yeah, such a great movie.
Totally.
That line in there, I'm going to take care of you or give you your bonus is going to be so big you'll be able to have a third family.
Two's fucking plenty.
Two's fucking plenty.
There were 2 lines in that scene that I knew were going to be fun to play because, just technically the consonants were going to be fun to play. That was one of them. Like, two's fucking plenty. I knew it would be great. And I'll poke you all goddamn day. I was like, guys, I don't have to do anything. Say the words.
You also had that great gloaty courtroom scene.
That was fun too. I didn't say anything.
but
Dollar Bill doesn't say much until that fight.
But you're a real prick anyway.
You had a great pricky wink at the three people who left at the funeral.
I love a good pricky wink.
What was it?
Mouthful of crackers.
Lawyer.
And lawyer.
Lawyer.
Some good lines.
Yep.
So can we spoil a little bit about like the I'm Kaiser Soze motherfucker or I'm Kaiser motherfucking Soze?
Oh, about how it was shot?
Shot later?
Yeah, sure. That tagline was very important, obviously, and we shot it in a number of different ways. And then about a month later, we came back and actually shot that moment again while they were shooting something else. Just that moment, just the tag, because they wanted to get a couple different flavors on it. And I don't know what they actually chose. I can't quite remember. But that was interesting. It was fun to be part of a moment that they thought was important enough to let's have as many options as we can. So
you and I had a conversation back and forth about whether the character would have said that, whether the scene, which was more subtle before, worked better without that big over the top line. But then they turned that into a promo. And you were like, well, okay, never mind. That was the right decision. Yeah. It's when you get to be a promo.
Right. They had a GIF, it's nice. That was my first GIF.
Today you were a man.
And then,
What's with Dollar Bill's wardrobe? What's that about? I mean, this is literally the worst dressed guy on television. Yeah,
except Pastor Tim.
Except maybe Pastor Tim. Yeah.
It's what the thrift shop had. I don't know. What can I say? I will
He's
say
thrifty.
But it's interesting that a millionaire investment banker, corrupt investment banker with two families, right?
And two minivans.
But that's the thing. He didn't buy two. He didn't buy two Land Rover SUVs, right? He bought two minivans, and he dresses with everything from the dad section at Old Navy.
Yeah. I mean, I remember going on the first fitting for the pilot and thinking, we're going to have the best suits. and then it was this. So I get Dockers?
Really, Dockers?
Used Dockers?
Timmy and Jeremy are going to inherit like nobody's business.
Yeah.
And now, was the funeral? I mean, I'm sure that probably took forever to shoot, but
it took a week.
Was that the most time you spent with the other like Axe Capital people? Because the show seems to throw characters into so many different physical locations.
We had a lot of time I can't think of the word, but whatever, in the office, in the bullpen or whatever you want to call it, hanging out. Sort of, we were there for days when we wouldn't do a whole lot. We would just be behaving with each other, which was great because we all bonded. And among other great people who were part of the cast, Dan Soder, who's an amazing comedian,
Maffei,
plays Maffei, the guy with the big head.
What do you talk about? I fucking love Maffei.
Oh, on his Twitter feed it says I'm the guy with the big big head. So I feel like I can say it. But he just spent most of the time cracking us up. And so we did have a lot of time together, but not for like a chunk of, I think that took 4 days, maybe 3. And that was like 3 a.m. pickup to, you get home at 7 or 8. Those were some brutal days, and it was cold out. But it was also fun. And that flask that I drink from, I think they actually stole that from me because I do bring a flask to the shoot. And in the van home, I'm passing it around, and I'm very popular.
What's in that flask?
In that specific flask? Yeah. Well, until I switched it on the 3rd day, it was water.
That was a gift too, actually.
What's that?
The you flasking at the funeral was also a gift.
That one, and then the fight. I fucking love you too, man.
Right.
I had a good gift here.
You're a goddamn walking meme factory here.
Somebody, I want that quote.
The show's been picked up for season 2, which is great news. I remember when you got it and you told me, you're like, I'm doing a Wall Street show because we do Homeland and we're and Band of Brothers is so great, and so like I'm doing a Wall Street show with Damian Lewis, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, this is lame. These questions are always lame, but I mean, shows. Who knows that like they catch on and they become relevant? Maybe because of the times we live in. When was a sense that the show's a thing?
Yeah,
people are talking. It's in the zeitgeist.
It was. I think we knew even during the pilot that there was something exciting about it. The chemistry between the actors, there was something going on, and obviously the feedback from Showtime was good. We all heard. I guess it was. it was right after right after the pilot episode, pilot aired. Twitter just went nuts,
Right.
And it was after the second episode that we got picked up. So it was pretty quick, actually. I gotta say.
Who is you have more scenes obviously with Lewis than Giamatti, but these are two. I mean, their presence in a scene can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Right. What's that like? Do they have? Is it like I was listening on Howard to Melissa McCarthy talk about doing a scene with Kathy Bates. And she's now been in a couple of movies. She was like, the first time I did a scene with Kathy Bates, she's like, it's a real thing. It's this energy force. It it overwhelms. It is overwhelming. And Howard was like, you don't want that, right? She's like, no, not like dominates the scene. It's just you feel this, holy crap.
Yeah.
This is a thing. And does that happen with do you relate to that with those guys?
I do. It's like a gravitational pull. It actually pulls you in as opposed to overwhelms, if that makes any sense. Damien and I, until the fight scene, didn't have we didn't have any extended one-on-one scenes. So the first of those two that I did have one of those with was Giamatti in episode 6. And he's just ferocious, and he's so giving. It feels he is his own kind of creature in a way. There's no one like him, but I'm stumbling on how to say it. It's just he plays ball, and he gets more out of you. He responds to every tiny little thing that you do, and he throws stuff back at you and loves to play. So any nervousness that I had at the very beginning, right after we shot the first take, was like, Matt's gone. He's perfect. He's great.
How much of it is in script, and how much of it do you find in the moment in terms of like a general episode?
I mean, it's all scripted. We have some leeway, especially on a show like Billions. People tend to add a lot of fuckings and goddams. And
it works for you.
And so I often had people say, "Yeah, don't add the fuck there. Take 3 of the fuckings you added out and keep that one." But it's it's a combination. They do give us a lot of leeway to find it, but I think part of that is that they. The way they auditioned the traders and the portfolio managers at the beginning for the pilot was that we all auditioned for that Mick Danzig. Mick Danzig.
That's the guy who shot. That's the guy.
He's the guy with the machine gun.
Right.
In the pilot episode, he has a scene with Wendy Rhodes where he's talking about losing his mojo. And that's
That's him, right? Okay.
Like my understanding is we all auditioned with that scene. And they didn't necessarily know, I don't think, exactly what they wanted with the rest of the traders and PMs. They wanted to just hire some interesting actors. This is not official. This is just what I've gleaned, I think. And over the course of the season, they started to develop these characters based on what they saw, what they were thinking, how the stories went. But like they had a staple of people that they could pick from. So I think things grew.
Who's more evil, Giamatti or Lewis? The character, Axelrod or
Dollar Bill.
Or Chuck.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth. I was definitely Team Axe for the longest time, and then after the Donnie Khan stuff. Although I'm torn. I'm torn. He used him, but he told him up front. Your last.
But then the rapidity with
not
which
telling
he was,
him about the
Yeah, I know.
potential
Yeah,
kills is so tough. I don't know.
and the blackmailing of Wendy, like in a second, like turning the willingness to
that
blackmail.
felt childish almost too.
It did.
Like petulant. But even about the thing, just back with Donnie, and I know I'm so with you. But the thing with Donnie too is he literally told him, "Your last months are not going to be your own."
Yes, he did.
So right, but he didn't say you're going to get even fewer last month.
All encompassing.
And I'm going to take 5 of them away.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take 5 of them away. I'm just for devil's advocate's sake. You're literally not going to be your own. They're going to be gods.
Stockholm syndrome.
That's right, totally.
That's good. So I go back and forth.
What else? Anything else, boys? Or
I don't know. I mean, do you when are you going to start getting scripts for season 2? Do you think?
They're in the writer's room now, and late June or early July we'll start shooting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could Dollar Bill go, we think, either way? Like, I mean, it strikes you his loyalty is unquestioned, but it puts him in a position where could Axe ask him to do anything, or might Axe ask him to do too much?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question. I have a hard time thinking anything would be too much for Dollar Bill. But maybe that would be an interesting challenge.
I would like to get a scene with Dollar Bill and Wife 1. Like now,
wife, the wife that I wrote to?
The wife you wrote to.
I'm going to say, I'm going to go with That's Wife 2 at this point.
Yeah, she just got downgraded.
Yeah, how interesting would that be? Maybe we could get Susie Hunt, who plays Alice, to play one.
There we go.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Great stuff, yeah.
Is it canonical?
All right, man. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah,
Obviously,
thanks. This
anytime
was
you're in
great.
LA, you can sit in on any show you want.
I'd be glad. I love
even
what
ones
you
you're
guys
not
do.
on.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
You watching Empire?
Oh, yeah. My wife and I just binged the first season this year. We're like, why didn't we start watching that before?
So you know, you and I have been friends for a long time, and you've been a working actor. You haven't had to have another job in a long time, right? You were a private investigator for a while.
It was when I first got to New York. I was a
Yeah,
private
like
investigator.
you made
that's awesome.
extra money that way. But
in Chinatown. It's Chinatown.
it's Chinatown, right? That was Malachi Weir's line.
Oh,
in
Malachi
Billions.
Weir, also just shout out to him. He's great.
Malachi Weir, I think, is the Pastor Tim of Billions because of the hair. Yeah.
There's a case to be made there.
Still
Yeah.
not 100% sure that wig wasn't stolen from our department.
So this is these two shows, and you were in House of Cards also,
Right.
playing Doug Stamper's brother.
and we're on Blacklist coming up.
You're Blacklist. So is this right? So is this? It must have helped, right? These that you've
Career-wise?
yeah, just that you're on shows that are again that people are talking about, that casting directors certainly are talking about.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And like for instance, Billions, I was brought in to audition for the role right after, like a week after I was cast by the same casting director in The Slap, which was that miniseries on NBC.
Oh right, yeah.
So, and I know she's been, for instance, just her, she's been very supportive for years. But it's always, because I'm sure she's supportive of a lot of people. So it's nice if you get cast, then you have a sort of this bubble time where you're going to be in people's brain. I always want to follow up something good with two other good things, because one good thing sort of feels like it happens in a vacuum.
And being on with now,
Both of these shows feels like a little bit.
yeah, and connected with two networks that are doing super interesting things right now. You look at nobody watched Deadwood when it was on. That's why it finished after 3 seasons without finishing.
Or Breaking Bad, right?
Or Breaking Bad. But Breaking Bad was Breaking Bad had social media.
It climbed because of Netflix. People would get caught up between seasons and so.
Okay.
But Deadwood didn't have that opportunity. But yet, literally every principled actor on Deadwood is all over all of these shows, all over the place.
And how good is that show?
Yeah, so that's it strikes me that could happen with both these shows. Anyway, great. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate
See you
it.
later, brother. All right, thanks.
Thanks.